Hi, this demonstration video will show you how to build a checklist with this intelligent checklist solution for Android devices and how to fill it in on a tablet device. I will then demonstrate how to generate a report. As an example, I will create a checklist to help people purchase a used car. For this purpose, we first have to create a template in iCL Designer. This is known as an iWorkbook template. This template will then be transferred to iCL Filler on the tablet where it will be filled in. After completing the questionnaire, we can generate a report or further process the data for analysis. To create the iWorkbook template, we open iCL Designer on a Windows PC. At the top of the screen, you'll find the functions you need to work on the iWorkbook template, import the license key, and edit the views of the mind map. In addition, there is the iWorkbook navigation panel for creating and deleting iChecklists and iFindings catalogues. The main window is the mind map. It serves as a work surface to create the iChecklists or the iFindings catalogues. Here you can also find the properties of the items selected in the mind map or the iWorkbook navigation panel. We want to create a checklist that will help us when buying a used car. The first step is to create an iChecklist and name it Car Checklist. The checklist should be mandatory. That is to say, you must fill it in order to be able to generate a report. The second step is to structure the chapters and headings. As we are working with a mind map that can be easily modified, it does not matter how and where we begin. We start with a test drive when we will check the brakes and steering. We now want to create a question about the brakes, namely to find out whether the vehicle steers straight and does not pull to one side when applying the brakes. We opt for a yes or no type question. Next, we want to ask whether the handbrake engages and disengages freely. Again, I choose a yes or no slider as the question type. Now we would like to test the steering. As we have had a similar question for the brakes, we can simply copy and paste the question and rephrase it. I will add a second question here. So now we want to fill in some general data. To do this, we create a new chapter and incorporate a question asking for the license number as a text field and the mileage on the odometer as a number field. Let's also ask the person inspecting the vehicle to take a picture of the car. This is a mandatory question. To avoid any mistakes in typing the license number, we will ask for an additional photo as a follow-up question. I am adding this question as a follow-up question, which will pop up only when the previous question has been answered. This will not be a mandatory question, as it is possible that the car does not have a license number. Since we want this entire chapter of questions to be asked first, we move this chapter to the beginning. To enable the person inspecting the vehicle to list any general flaws that he or she sees straight away, we use an iFindings catalogue. To do so, we create a new catalogue of options. In this case, for damages to the surface. This might include damage caused by hailstones or simply paint variations. In order to define the precise location of the damage in question, we enable the user to select, for example, the boot lid, the roof, the bonnet. Lastly, let's just ask the person inspecting the vehicle to select whether these are minor or major damages. Now let's go back to our checklist to incorporate this question and mark the answer in the iFindings catalogue. Finally, we save the template under a new name. That's it. Now let's have a look at the checklist on the tablet. I am using a 10-inch device. After installing iCL Filler on the Android tablet and importing the license key, we need to import the template. To do this, you can either use an email address or a server like Dropbox or Synology Cloud Services. As soon as I have the iCL file on the tablet, I just open it and find the corresponding template within the Template tab. I can open it with a double click or the Start button. I then name the check. We can now see the two chapters, Quick Test and Test Drive, that we defined in iCL Designer. In the Quick Test, we find the two headings, General and Obvious Flaws, including the questions about the license number, mileage and the photo. As soon as I enter the value in the license number field, the follow-up question pops up asking me to take a photo. Under the heading, Obvious Flaws, we find the question asking for any shortcomings and can select one or several items from the Surface Damage iFindings catalogue. In the Test Drive chapter, we find the questions for the brake and steering tests, this time as yes or no type questions. We can also see here how some mandatory questions have already been filled in and how some still need to be answered. We can only complete the check when we have filled in all the mandatory fields. So far, so good. To improve the checklist, we could add a follow-up question asking in what direction the car moves or skids during driving and during the brake tests. This is no problem at all. We open the iWorkbook template again in iCL Designer, go to the relevant question and add a new follow-up question asking about the direction. This time we use radio buttons. Because it's the same question, we can simply copy the entire question, including the answers, and paste it in as a new one. To finish up, I rate the individual responses as either negative or positive for later review. We save the file, transfer it to our tablet and import it. The active iWorkbook indicates an update so that we can confirm the update and then open it again. We can find the new questions already built in without losing the answers we have previously entered. After we have filled in all the mandatory fields, we can close our iWorkbook and generate a report. We can also see here whether the answers are rated as positive or negative and can transfer the data. I hope this demonstration has given you a useful insight into the basic iCL solution. Above all, I hope you have been able to see just how quickly you can create a checklist or an inspection plan, and how easy it is to extend and optimize it. Speaking from experience, I can tell you that checklists often have to be changed many times before they are ready to use. However, as you have seen from this video, this should not present any technical difficulties. Different iCL product versions are available for different purposes. Filling in simple checklists and generating reports. Assigning iChecklists and iFindings to assets, buildings, or inventories for further complex data analysis. And incorporating the system into complex IT-driven processes that perform inspections and maintenance works. We at the Opti-Q team will be more than happy to provide you with further information about our solutions. All the best, and thanks for listening.